All right, let's dive into one of the most critical challenges of our time, securing the digital networks that basically run our entire lives. I mean, think about it. From our bank accounts to our power grids, everything is connected. So today, we're going to break down the threats, who the attackers are, and most importantly, the defenses you really need to know about. And hey, a huge welcome back to our Cybersecurity Essentials series. If you were here for part 1, you know we covered the basics. Today, we're going a lot deeper. We're getting into the real nitty-gritty of how we protect our digital world. Now, what you're looking at here, this isn't a scene from some sci-fi movie. This is a real-time cyber threat map. Every single one of those lines is a real network attack happening right this second somewhere in the world. It is a constant, relentless assault, and it just perfectly shows you the sheer scale of the challenge we're up against.
So that leads us to our first big question. Why? Why are networks such a massive target? Let's break down what's actually at stake here.
Honestly, the stakes just could not be higher. For any business, a breach can completely cripple e-commerce and lead to devastating data loss. We're talking huge financial hits, lawsuits, the works. And for us, as individuals, it's a direct threat to our personal privacy. But it can get even more serious. When critical infrastructure gets hit, compromising that information can literally endanger public safety.
To build a solid defense, you first have to know your enemy, right? So who are the people and the groups that are actually launching these attacks? Let's pull back the curtain a bit.
The world of threat actors is incredibly diverse. On one end of the spectrum, you've got script kiddies. These are amateurs, basically using pre-made tools, often just to cause a little chaos. Then you have hacktivists, who are using their skills for political protest. But things get way more serious with organized cybercriminals. These are sophisticated groups, and they are in it purely for the money. And at the very top, state-sponsored groups, backed by entire governments to steal secrets and sabotage their rivals. Their motivations are all different, but the threat they pose is very, very real.
Now, what's really interesting is how we can classify them. We've got white hats, they're the good guys, the ethical hackers who help companies find their weaknesses before the bad guys do. Then you have the black hats. Those are the criminals, violating security for personal profit. And right in the middle, you've got the gray hats. They operate in this murky, morally ambiguous zone. They might break into a system without permission, but their goal might be to expose the flaw publicly, not to actually profit from it.
Okay, before we go any further, we need to get our vocabulary straight. You're going to hear these 3 words all the time: threat, vulnerability, and risk. They are the absolute foundation of any security discussion.
First up, a threat. Think of this as the potential danger, the what that could cause harm. Let's use an analogy. Imagine a burglar scouting a neighborhood. That burglar is the threat. It could also be a piece of malware or even a natural disaster, anything with the potential to harm your stuff. Next, vulnerability. This is the how a threat gets in. So if the burglar is the threat, the vulnerability is the unlocked window they spot. In our digital world, that could be a piece of software that needs an update, a super weak password, or a lack of encryption. It's the opening they can take advantage of.
And finally, risk. Risk is what brings it all together. It's the likelihood that the burglar, the threat, will actually climb through that unlocked window, the vulnerability, and steal something. It's the probability of something bad happening. So when we talk about risk, we're really asking, what's the real chance this bad thing will actually happen to us?
So once you've identified a risk, what do you do about it? Well, you've basically got 4 main strategies. First, you can accept it. Maybe the risk is tiny, and the cost to fix it is just too high, so you decide to live with it. Second, avoidance. You just stop doing the risky thing, like maybe getting rid of an old, insecure server. The most common one is reduction, where you take steps to make the risk smaller, like installing a firewall. And finally, you can transfer the risk. That's exactly what you're doing when you buy cyber insurance.
All right, let's bring this down from the clouds of theory to the real world. How does all this data we're trying so hard to protect actually get lost or stolen?
It often happens in ways that seem almost boring. A compromised email account, a stolen laptop that isn't encrypted, sensitive data just sitting in the cloud with weak security, even something as simple as a lost USB stick or a confidential report just tossed in the trash without being shredded. That can lead to a major breach. The key thing to remember is the attack isn't always some sophisticated hack. A lot of the time, it's just simple human error.
So, we've seen the problem, we've met the perpetrators, and we've got the key concepts down. Now for the most important part. How do we fight back? Let's talk about building our defenses.
This is where we get proactive.
See, good defense isn't a one-time fix. It's a continuous process. Look at this checklist. Number 1, keeping your software up to date. That patches the vulnerabilities we just talked about. Another huge one is enforcing strong passwords, and even better, using two-factor authentication. Seriously, that one step alone can block the vast majority of attempts to take over your accounts. Every single item on this list is another layer in your defense.
And this point right here is absolutely key. Cybersecurity is not just a job for the IT department. It is a shared responsibility. Every single person who uses a network has a role to play in protecting it, from the CEO all the way down to the newest intern.
A truly modern defense requires a shift in how we think. We need to go from being reactive to being proactive. A reactive approach looks for indicators of compromise. Think of this like finding muddy footprints in your house. It's evidence that a burglar has already been inside. A proactive approach looks for indicators of attack. This is like seeing someone actively trying to jimmy your window. It focuses on the attacker's behavior and lets you stop them before they get it.
And this quote just sums it up perfectly. If you only defend against a specific piece of malware, you'll always be one step behind, waiting for the next one. But if you defend against the strategy an attacker uses to deliver that malware, you can prevent whole classes of future attacks. It's about playing chess, not checkers.
The good news is we are not fighting this battle alone. Governments and private organizations are increasingly working together. In the US, for example, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, leads an effort called Automated Indicator Sharing. It's a system that lets companies and the government share threat info in real time, creating a really powerful collective defense.
And this idea of a shared defense extends to every single one of us. Public awareness is a huge piece of the puzzle. Initiatives like the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which happens every October, are designed to educate everyone on everything from social media safety to securing your Wi-Fi at home.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this one question to think about. After everything we've talked about today, from weak passwords to unencrypted devices, just take a second and think about your own digital life. What might be your single biggest vulnerability? Because answering that question, that's the first step toward a much more secure future.